Right, and I think we just went right past the layperson by saying it so quickly, and I want to slow it down, and we're going to take one guy, and that's Paul. He's the darling of the skeptics. I want us to go back to 1 Corinthians 15, because this is a statement that is a traditional statement. The Jews would say this is tradition, it's being passed down by a scholar, okay? Because the words are there. I received it and I'm delivering it to you, okay? And he says this is of first importance. So he's saying this is the cat's meow. This is a thing you need to listen to. And then it's interesting when this comes out and what the scholars say about the time period when this comes out. Take it from there and then go through the list a little slower here.
Yeah. Paul, you know, I want to emphasize this so much. I don't want to overdo this, and we don't have to choose between them. But maybe the most important thing Paul contributes, his eyewitness testimony is incredible. But to me, with Bart Ehrman and others, Paul doing that interviewing in Galatians 1 and 2 is, who does this kind of stuff? Who does hysteresis? Who goes and checks things out? You're going to get on the ship and you're going to go all the way back to Jerusalem just to ask these guys what they saw? If this is religion and we just believe anything, why don't you just say, oh, I heard they believe it? No, he's going to go check it out. That's just incredible.
Yeah, let's go back here for a moment, because Paul gets saved on the road to Damascus 2 years after the resurrection,
right.
And he goes into the far country there, and he stays by himself. And then, after 3 years, so 2 after the resurrection, plus 3 where he's away, and then he decides to go to Jerusalem to have this hystereso, this little conversation where he checks out with 2 of the big guys, okay? Peter, who's supposed to be the chief of all the apostles, and the Lord's own brother, okay? And he says, 15 days with these guys, all right? And this is where Bart Ehrman says, well, I'd sure like to ask those guys some questions for 15 days, okay? And so pick it up right there.
Yeah, and so Paul reports this, comes back 14 years later, which is still before 50 AD. That's the second meeting where John is there. You know, you think about things like intelligent design and all this, look at everything coming in. What's the likelihood that Paul would have got the right guys at the right time, right after the event was over? Oh, well, you left John out. No, I'm picking him up in the next visit. I mean, it's all there. And what are you doing? I'm asking questions. Well, how do we know? Well, this is a book that's all about the gospel, Galatians. And by the way, these early creedal things, about 80% of these creeds are repetition of the deity, death, and resurrection of Jesus. They all stay on this topic because it's the center of faith, which is one of our 12 facts.